James, what do you make of the crowd booing Lando Norris and almost poking fun at him by doing the Max Verstappen chant whilst Lando's on the podium? Do you think that's fair? Is all fair in love and war and banter as far as fans are concerned? The pantomime villain thing that the Netflix Drive to Survivation of Formula One and footballification to a lesser extent has ushered in?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, I would take you back to 1992, British Grand Prix at Silverstone, Nigel Mansell, 200 and something thousand crowd over the weekend, and 100 and God knows how many over on race day. Huge number of people, and they all sort of ran on the track at the end. And then the race didn't, cars were still making their way back. It brought around quite a bit of change, that race, because you think, oh my God, we can't have this. This is so dangerous. So now they've got all these proper gates, and they still let the fans onto the track so they can run up like at Monza, and it's a hell of a spectacle. It's brilliant. But back in '92, it happened, literally before some people had actually finished. And that crowd that followed Mansell was very much that kind of crowd. It was a blue collar. It was a hardcore, more like a football crowd, and so you've had this at different times. I mean, certainly the Brazilian crowds in the past. I've been in Brazil when it's been really, really rowdy, and it's great. It's fun. I mean, so I don't have a problem with it at all. As regards booing Lando Norris, I've been there when Lewis got booed in Monza. I've seen Senna get booed at Silverstone. It's part of the game. You use the word pantomime. It is a bit of a pantomime. What underlies it? I mean, what you could look at Norris and say, well, he seems like a harmless sort of guy. Why would anybody want to boo him? And I do think it comes back to this perception that McLaren kind of favours him, really. And I do think the one sort of thing that McLaren, I wish they would sort of somehow get past this, is this whole papaya rules thing, because I think fans just want a simple narrative. They want rivalries, and they don't need complications of like behind teams, smoky room, decision making, deals done, consequences for people and all that stuff. We do let them race, and don't try and put too much control on these things, because I think it has spoiled the narrative a little bit of this year's championship. So I think that's probably wrapped up in it a bit.
It was interesting when Lando Norris, post the Mexican Grand Prix, was asked why does he think the fans are booing, and he said, I don't know. And then there was a Mexican journalist in attendance that said, well, I know. It's because the fans feel like in a poll in a very famous Mexican magazine, the fans feel like you're being gifted the championship because Zach and Andrea, that you are the McLaren prodigal son, that there is more commercial value if you win the championship. And so you're being favoured. What do you make of that, James? Is that just?
I don't think there's more commercial value if he wins it. I think McLaren haven't won a drivers' championship for a very long time. Lewis Hamilton 2008. That's a very long time ago for a team like McLaren. And I think that they just want to win it. Come what may. I think they're trying to manage the drivers. I think they're trying to do the right thing. I think Zach is a fair person in my experience. I've had a lot of dealings with Zach Brown over the years, and he's a lot of things, but he's definitely fair. And I think it's important to him that they go racing with integrity. But as I said before, I think the papaya rules thing goes a bit too far. And don't forget that you can be selective in your memory about these things, because there were times when Norris was disadvantaged, like for example last year in Budapest, which was, again, I thought I don't think I would have done that if I was the team management. So it's cut both ways, and Lando's been on the wrong end of it as well. But I think that it does feel a little bit like it's just a bit overmanaged.
James, on your latest iteration of the James Allen on F1 podcast, you sat down with friends of the channel, the Red Flags podcast guys, and you spoke in some detail about content and I suppose the line of travel as far as F1's concerned. Recently, Chief Communications Officer of F1, Liam Parker, came out and he gave an interview in which he said that if his boss, Stefano Domenicali, were there, he would say that F1 isn't sport, F1 is content in 2025? To that, James, you respond how, sir?
That's a very interesting question as well. Why can't it be both? I think, I mean, in some ways, everything is content, right? We all have. I mean, there's so many people who are now content creators to varying degrees with social media channels and having profiles and posting pictures of everything from cats on car roofs through to, having an exclusive interview with Lewis Hamilton or Lando Norris or whatever. It's all kind of content. The key to it is, does anyone care? And what quality? What's the quality of it, right? And I think Formula One has got itself to a place where it's generating quite a lot of content, but still, in comparison to football, for example, the Premier League, you've got 20 teams who play, so there's obviously 10 matches per match week, and they have 38 of those in a season. You compare that to 10 Formula One teams doing 24 races plus, is it 6 sprints, I think. Qualifying's quite interesting, so people watch that. There's 24 of those as well, plus sprint qualifying. That's another 6 of those. But, what's that? 30, that's 12 sprint events, if you want, and 48 Grand Prix events. So it's nothing like as many content happenings as there is with the Premier League. Then you've got all the stuff that goes on in the paddock and the stuff the drivers post and all the rest of it, and it's all part and parcel of the same thing. But if you look at the global F1 fan survey that we did for Formula One this summer, it comes through loud and clear that whether you're an old-fashioned, legacy, traditional, whatever you want to call that, diehard fan, or you're a new fan to the sport, fundamental to your appreciation and your fandom is that the sport is good. So I don't necessarily agree that it's just content. I think it is a sport. If it didn't have the sport at the heart of it, I don't think the fans would be there in anything like the numbers that they are.
I agree, James. I feel like it has to be a sport first, and everything else is secondary, right? Like I don't know. If we don't have a 2021 season, I'd argue that the market cap of F1 on the Nasdaq is nowhere near 24 billion or whatever it is now. You've got to have, there is that competition that's at the core of everything that F1 does. So I suppose that's why the F1 community reacted like this when Liam Parker said, "We're not content. We're not sport. We're content." It's like, yeah.
I haven't seen that interview. I know Liam very well. I shall see him in Vegas. I'll ask him what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah, please.